Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast presented to you by Music Never Stopped. Today is Monday, October 13th, and today in the podcast we have Tommy from Fireside Collective.
What are you doing, podcast for lot?
Yeah.
Come be on a lot podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, All Jammed Up.
This dude's doing a podcast. If you want to be on some podcast, come give an interview.
Hell yeah. Good morning, fools. Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast. Today is Monday, October 13th. And today in the podcast, we have Tommy from Fireside Collective. And I hope you guys are ready to get educated. We do a deep dive into the dobro, what it is, the history of the dobro, who are the big names in the dobro space. And if you're into like history and learning about instruments and music, I think this is a perfect podcast for you. Tommy knows seemingly everything about dobros. He said it was the most he's ever talked about dobros, so it was a really good time. But we also get into like, he was busking for a while when he first moved into Asheville. We get into that. Jason, some of you guys may know him here in Asheville. He's like Fireside's biggest fan. We brought him in to ask a couple questions. Those two guys form an Asheville supergroup. So it's a really good interview, a lot to learn, some laughs in it, and it's a little bit of a longer one, so if you need to split it up over a couple days, feel free. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Interview with Tommy.
Hey, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
We're here with Tommy from Fireside and Tommy's number one fan, Jason.
I think my mom is my number one fan. He's up there.
Okay. So we've had Jesse on the podcast. We've been talking to you forever to get it on, and then I ran into Jason last week at, where was that? Clouds of Delusion.
Clouds.
Yep. Told him that I was doing. He's like, "Oh, can I come?" I was like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get Jason on the podcast, so it works out perfect.
This is a pleasant surprise for me.
And hopefully my dog calms down a little bit and doesn't get too rowdy here. But I'm glad we were able to get it done, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry about your car wreck the other day.
That's all right. Yeah, I ran into a stationary pylon, so there's really no excuse.
Oh, so it's just.
But to my credit, the gas station attendant said that it happens all the time, so that made me feel a
Where
little
was
less
it at?
like a bad driver. It was at the Shell station on Merriman. I was just on my way to a gig with Alex Bazemore, actually,
Okay.
out at Pisgah, and I was kind of pressed for time. I was whipping out of this gas station and just totally clipped this pole, man, big time. And it just wrecked my front end.
Was it right after you came to Liberty?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
It was a
Because I'm
great
very
day.
familiar with that gas station.
Dude, it was a great day. I had, I did meditation in the morning at Asheville Community Yoga for the first time, like group meditation.
The one next door?
The
one next to Liberty? Oh, okay.
That's another yoga school. But my head was right. I was all blissed out. I went and had a wonderful little time at Liberty where you were working.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gig. I'm caffeinated. And then I just boom right into the pole. Changed my whole day.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah.
You've had some pretty cool shows. Like you did the one a few weeks ago with Vince from Leftover Salmon. And was it Travis Book too, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. You go to King Street quite a lot, right?
I do go to King Street quite a lot.
I've still never been there.
It's worth the 45, 50 minutes to get down there on a Tuesday night, for real. It doesn't seem, it's like kind of understated,
Mhm.
but when you're there, it's like this little secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Travis Book on Tuesday just has like different, it's like an Alex Bazemore and Friends thing with just Travis Book, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. But the kind of like, he curates it really well.
Mm-hmm.
The type of artist he brings in.
Now, did you play with Leftover Salmon on Thursday, or you just brought a pedal for someone?
So Jay's Airline or whatever, Starling, their dobro player and lap steel player and keyboard player, who's like twice my height. It's funny, dobro players are either really small or really big. There's no like in between. But he called me up in a frantic and was like, I don't have any of my rig. Can you help me out? We happen to be off the road. So I brought up a dobro rig for him and a lap steel rig and an amp.
Okay.
And he was just like super grateful. And then Vince in the green room was like, "We should get you up, Tommy, for being so helpful today." And I obviously didn't expect that, but so I was like, sure. So it was just one song, just the last or second to last song of their set. It was fun.
Okay, gotcha. 'Cause I missed the first half of the set because I was doing an interview with Alex from Secret Hollow.
Oh yeah, I heard their set.
New Country Blues is like one of my favorite songs. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
came out to Chloe and I was like, did they play it yet?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, with John Stickley. I was like, God
Yeah.
damn it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I wanted. And then I think we left we must have left right before you came on the stage.
Yeah, it was very, very close to the end of the show.
Because we both worked early the next morning, and I was like, let's
Yeah.
just get out of here.
Were you there too?
I was not.
I didn't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Since I was going to Chattanooga, I just didn't want to stay up.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
How many shows a week do you think you go to, Jason?
Oh, this is a great
I
question.
You go to a lot of the Tuesdays?
I go to Tuesdays in Brevard because it saved my life during COVID. So if there is a Tuesday show in Brevard, I'll absolutely be there. If not, that is my night off.
Night off.
Travis has been there a little less lately.
Yeah.
So sometimes we get a Tuesday off. But no, Wednesdays it's the Sailors, Thursdays it's Sherry's Dad. I mean, it's every
Yeah.
Fridays seem slow in town sometimes.
Yeah.
But
You need Fridays to recoup for the weekend.
right.
Yeah. I feel like when I first moved here, I was doing like a bunch. Like, especially when I started the podcast, I was just like, every show I could get, I would go. And now I'm just like, maybe just 2 or 3 a week. It's a lot
Yeah.
to go.
And it's all like worth going out for.
Yeah.
Like if you have the time and the money. I mean,
Mhm.
like there's such good the like baseline level of like quality for Asheville
Yeah.
on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is so like the bar is high. I mean, we tour all over the country and like it's not normal to have like badass bands Monday through Thursday and then big touring acts all weekend long.
Yeah.
Like at multiple venues across the city.
For sure. How long have you lived in Asheville for?
I moved here back when Jesse first moved here, our mandolin player, like 16, 17 years ago.
Okay.
But I only lasted like a year. Asheville did not jive with me. So I left for like a few years and I came back in 2014 at the beginning of sort of like the Fireside Collective as we know it. But prior to that, I was just like living on his couch and we were jamming together and he had another band in college where we met beside the fire.
Okay.
So he might have talked about, but yeah, this current stay just since 2014,
So when was your first one you said? 2000?
probably 2010.
Okay. What do you think changed
2009?
from the first time you came to the second that made it jive that time?
Well, I know exactly what it is. It was sort of the timing for me personally where I was at in my life. Like I was the first time around, Jesse had graduated already,
Mhm.
and I remember this so specifically. We're standing at a keg pouring beer at a keg party in Greenville, North Carolina, and he's just about to finish school. I think it was his last semester, and there was a lot of keg parties at ECU, and I was over school at that point.
Yeah.
I started to like learn that my loan, I didn't even know signing off on these fucking things, and then I was like, wait,
I don't want to talk about
I
it.
owe 30 grand right now. And I was like, what am I going to do with Spanish? That was my major. And I was like, I'll take a semester off. My parents will understand. We're at the keg. He's like, I was like, what are you going to do, man? Like after school, I don't even know if he remembers this, he was like, I'm going to move to Asheville. And like be immersed in like bluegrass and like folk music. And we had both kind of simultaneously fell in love with like what I would just say is roots music.
Yeah.
That would include like blues, old country, string band music, bluegrass is in that umbrella. And I was like, well, that sounds nice. I'll go with you, And he was like, sure. Okay, whatever, And then literally like, when he was making plans, I was like, so, I dropped out of school. Let's go to Asheville. So I went to take a semester off and, so we moved in the winter and it was cold. I didn't know anybody in the scene at all. We were going to like funk jams, man, back in the day. Like the pinnacle of like the funk jam at Tuesday night at like, I think it was called, oh shit, it was downtown, doesn't even exist anymore. But it was before they were doing it at the music hall. But I was living off of summer savings from my Outer Banks job. So I was just unemployed, cold, knew no one. Jesse's working full time at the Biltmore. I would just like
Loaf around.
Yeah. Cold, wintry Asheville.
So cool.
And
dude.
I was like, this is terrible. Who would want to live here? So I was like, Jesse, I don't think this is meant for me. So I went back to the Outer Banks and went back to my like summer work, which was kind of like my bread and butter. It would get me through the whole
Was
year.
it a restaurant?
I was a restaurant.
What restaurant was it?
It was called the Tomato Patch, and then this other place called Sun Dogs, and then I worked at this place called Mike Diana's Grill Room. Service industry stuff, like college
I'm
kid
from
jobs.
Chesapeake, Virginia. So
Oh,
we would
yeah.
go to like Outer Banks.
Yeah, Kerala. So I was in the northern Outer Banks. So I went back to work in the summer, and then Jesse called me a few years later, and was like, "Hey, I'm putting together a band around this album that I'm doing." Fireside Collective. And the first album was just pickers in town. It wasn't like a solidified lineup. It was like Lindsey Pruitt, John Stickley, Drew Matalich. And he was like, "I'd love for you to come play dobro." And I had just started playing the dobro. And I was like, "Dude, all right. Like, I'm going to suck." And he was like, "You'll be fine, you know?" So
It's funny looking back.
Yeah.
That's like a fire. That's like an all-star lineup.
Oh, it
right
was
there.
disgusting, dude. So I left the Outer Banks to go play on the album. And then when I landed in Asheville that time, it was like, it was during the like spring or summer, if I remember correctly. The weather was nice. Jesse had already he was now like a part of the bluegrass scene. So he had friends. So I was like, wow, this is a totally different place now for me. And then I slept on his couch for a week, and then a month, and then a year, and then I learned how to book shows and took the first incarnation of Fireside. Yeah, I learned how to deal with the winters. Took the first incarnation of Fireside Collective on the road just by like booking from my freaking like desktop computer. And then I didn't leave. And then the band started to continually like become more of a thing, and Jesse quit his job. And then it was like, oh, now we're all in. Yeah. So then, I stayed.
Is that all stuff that you knew, Jason?
Most of that stuff I knew. Are any of the other Fireside guys on that first record? Because it turned out good, and I knew you were on it, but I didn't know if any of the other guys were on by that.
I don't think Joe's definitely not on it, and I wonder if Carson played bass on like one song. I think we might have, Jesse had this guy Jake from the Fritz. Okay. Our current drummer's old band is called the Fritz. And I think Jake was playing upright on that album. And Mikey Spice, this percussion player, also from the Fritz, is on that album. And then I was on dobro. We had some guest vocalists. But yeah, that was never intended, from what I understand from Jesse, that was going to be the lineup. Yeah. It was just to get the album out, and those were his friends at the time.
So the first group before Fireside, it was you, Jesse, John Stickley, Lindsey Pruitt, and Drew Matalich, you said?
Drew Matalich, and then who was the banjo player? Damn, I forget who played freaking banjo on that album. But yeah, it was just an album band. There was no intention to tour with those people because they were already in projects. Okay. But I was free and buddies with Jesse, and then it all kind of clicked when Carson, the current bass player, moved. He also was in Asheville at that time.
Drew was Billy Strings for a while, right?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What do you think it is about, like? So those are like all like pretty big names, like bluegrass. What do you think it is about Asheville like makes people want to stay here? Like,
man, for me, I think that there's kind of like a plethora of creative outlets for multiple genres. Like it's got a really good jazz funk scene, obviously bluegrass. I mean, just as a gigging, this is besides the legacy of string band music as it pertains to the history of Appalachia culture. But just as a practical gigging musician standpoint, there's enough work here, especially because it's becoming more of a touristy area, that you can kind of just never tour and still make a good living. And in fact, I have a lot of friends that do that. But if you go deeper into why bluegrass and old time music it attracts those musicians, is that there is an extremely Asheville was an extremely important part of the whole journey of country music and early string band music back in the 40s and 50s. Bill Monroe, the old radio station at Citizen Vinyl.
I would like to get someone on the podcast who's like an expert in that.
I don't even really know the super deep stuff, but this was a very relevant place. I know that, and still is for that kind of music. So.
Do you know, you might...
I just feel like that's probably what draws people here first, right? As
Because when did you
Well,
move here?
We moved here in 16.
Okay.
So almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, but right around 10 years.
And was the music a big reason why?
Music was absolutely
Yeah.
the reason why. My wife was asked to start a school here. We were very happy where we were in Seattle, but it just was an opportunity. So we came here, and I remember being worried, like, oh my God, this is a small town. Like, we've been for Christmas jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is a small town. Like, is there going to be enough music for an addict like myself? And it turns out there's more.
Yeah.
What is the Christmas Jam? I saw that was just announced with like Warren Haynes the other day. What is that all about?
So near as I can tell, it started as when Warren and his musician friends had left here. You know, they all grew up here and going off to college. When they were home for break or whatever, they would just go to the bar and have a benefit show for some local, you know, whatever. And I think it just grew as Warren grew into something that spotlighted his friends, right? And also was a way to make money for causes, right? I mean, there's whole neighborhoods in this area that were built by that money.
Oh,
You know?
really?
Yeah, to have what was Habitat for Humanity. I think it's kind of beloved Asheville or something now.
Yeah.
For many years, it was Habitat for Humanity. Yeah, there's one off Sardis or off Bear Creek or something. You turn right on Warren Haynes Way.
Yeah.
There's a whole neighborhood back there.
Yeah.
Really?
And then right over here, like if you're cutting over towards my house from here, there's Soulshine Circle or whatever, and there's a whole nother little neighborhood. It's all
That's pretty
just
rad.
hippies show up and throw money at
Yeah.
Warren and build houses. Right,
Yeah.
they have these work parties all week, building houses
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Damn. Do you have any intel of who's going to be in that?
No, man. I don't, but I wish it would be awesome to kind of get into that.
I saw like it on
ecosystem.
Instagram. People seemed really excited
Yeah.
about it. So I was like, I'd never even heard of this.
I mean,
but-
I remember the only Christmas jam I ever went to. I used the first few years I lived here. All I did was busk for money.
Okay.
I didn't have a job. I just busked downtown. And one year I was busking out in front of the Civic Center, in the line for Christmas Jam, and I was playing Friend of the Devil. I had like my little acoustic guitar, harmonica, and a tambourine on my foot. And somebody freaking gifted me 2 Christmas Jam tickets.
Fuck yeah.
So that was probably like 2016 or something, and I went to my first Christmas Jam there. And then Fireside did a kind of like a pre-party at one time at the music hall. But besides that, yeah, Christmas Jam has always been something I've been aware of. But
Is this
never-
the first time they're doing it in a little while?
Is it? I don't know.
They skipped last year because of the storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've skipped a couple years
Yeah.
lately, right?
COVID
They must have missed
probably.
1 or 2 because of
COVID,
COVID.
Yeah.
And then
The
they
storm last year.
were skipping the one that would have been right before COVID already.
Yeah.
They had some big blowout where it was like 2 nights and they all got snowed in, and they did a third night at the Orange Peel or something. And then I don't think they felt they could top that. So they said, oh, we'll take a year off. Well, it ended up being 2 or 3
Yeah.
because of
Okay.
COVID. And there's been 2 back, and then they missed last year because of the storm, or maybe 1
Nice.
back.
So this one might be like a big one.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Hell
It's
yeah.
the best, I think, weekend of the year here in town. I mean, music just
Bigger than like Billy this year?
bigger than Billy.
Damn.
Music blows up all over town. It's just, well, it's like that, right?
Yeah.
All these bands are also playing,
Yeah.
showing up with whoever's playing at the music hall.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they do a
Fuck
pre
yeah. I didn't even know about that.
It's nuts.
I'll have to set up and do a little. I don't know. It might be too
Yeah.
cold to do a lot podcast in
Yeah.
December.
I mean, it'll be people that like you have no business seeing all on the same bill for
Mhm.
$70 or whatever.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned busking for like
Yeah.
what, 3 years?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like every day, like 3 days a week. Like how often are you doing it?
About 3 days.
3 days a week. Do you have any crazy, cool, like
Oh.
interesting stories, like people
Yeah.
you ran into? Yeah, let's hear some of
Yeah.
those.
So first of all, it was the band's first house off of Hanover Street in West Asheville. I slept on Jesse's bed, and he was like just kind of gone a lot. So I slept on his bed or the couch, and I would catch the W1 bus line into downtown. And about 3 days a week, I would go Wednesdays, and then like either Friday or Saturday or Sunday or something.
Yeah.
And at that time, man, but the busking scene in Asheville was like a carnival. Like, especially during the summer, the warm months, man, there'd be a dude playing juggling next to me, playing like folk music next to some dude doing street art. It was insane before all these like anti-busking laws kind of like started to pop up.
Mhm.
But probably my most memorable story, because I had a bunch. I met like train hoppers, homeless vets,
Yeah.
drug addicts. I was hanging out with like everybody, and they knew who I was, and I'd give them a little bit of cash after a good night, buy them a pack of cigarettes, share a cig with some dude that was in Vietnam, and he'd tell me about meeting Richard Nixon, and I'm like, I don't know, Warren was his name.
Shouts out Warren.
Shout out to Warren. I don't know where he's at right now. I met a riverboat captain that was gifted. He gave me $100 and he told me some riverboat stories. But my most memorable story was I was busking right at Pack Square in front of the noodle shop, which was prime real estate for busking at that time. People would like wait in like a queue to get their spot there, and it like the general rule was like 2 hours. That was like the busking
For
etiquette.
noodles?
2 hours
okay.
for I mean, it depends on what kind of noodles you're asking for, but 2 hours per shift there to let other people get a chance to use the prime location.
And are people typically pretty respectful towards that?
It actually was like, the busking culture at that time was like pretty. Yeah, it was respectful. It was like a little like how you think of like carnies, like rolling deep with each other.
Yeah.
Like it was like that, dude.
Everyone respected the hustle.
And I was sort of unknown, and like there was these OG buskers on that block that were career buskers. They were paying all their bills. I mean, I was too, but my overhead was so low. But they had a whole setup, dude. Like a whole setup. Sometimes like powered speakers that would like project the whole block, I would just roll up all acoustic, tambourine on my foot, acoustic guitar with finger picks so I could play louder, or pick, but I'm not a good flat picker, and then a harmonica rack, and my whole repertoire was like Dylan, Neil Young, like Doc Watson stuff. But anyway, I'm at the Pack Square and I'm looking at the noodle shop, and I see freaking Jeff Austin sitting down on the outside patio of the noodle shop with a buddy, probably his tour manager or something. I think this might have been right at the end of Yonder, of his, that was about to come to an end. I want to say it was like the last year maybe, and maybe they were playing in town or something. I really forget the context, but I recognized them, and I was in the middle of Rosalie McFall, which I still sing with Fireside. And then I'm kind of like, I know he's there, but I'm not really fanboying him because I wasn't like a giant Yonder fan at the time, but I was familiar with their legacy. And then he came over to me and put $5 in my guitar case and said, "Really good job, man." I said, "Dude, I'm such a big fan of you. Thank you so much." And then it turns out that Fireside ended up opening for the Jeff Austin band post Yonder, like a year and a half, 2 years later, maybe. And I told him that story, and he seemed to legitimately remember. I don't know if he was just flattering me, but and I always remember that, catching his dark, very dark eyes across this busy sidewalk and him giving me a nod, and then later coming up and giving me $5. I was like, I thought that was so cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
What's like what was like a solid day of busking?
About $100.
$100.
That would sort of be like an average, maybe 200.
Yeah. That's a good day.
Yeah, multiply that by 3 days a week. Not every day was that good, but like it was livable. Plus rent was so much cheaper back then. And like, I was living very like frugally.
Yeah. Still am.
Still am living frugal, but the rent ain't cheap.
Yep. I heard that.
Yeah.
So
why do you think the busking stopped here, right? Because even at the beginning of us, that was coming to a tail end. In most music cities, it's everywhere. Now you're hard pressed to find something like that downtown.
So I was really up to speed because I knew the top buskers in the area that were a part of these town hall debates. Like I never cared enough to actually go to a meeting, but they would do monthly meetups with the city council, like the people that are doing it 5 days a week. And they were very active voices on behalf of the busking community to try and advocate for busking to be embraced by the city as a part of Asheville's unique culture. What happened was businesses were starting to complain because foot traffic with tourism and stuff would interfere. Like if you know, you have a whole setup, some of these dudes are like the juggling guy had like a cart and everything out in front of a business, and like, you know, people that might be new to town, or they're on, you know, they're just tourists, and they're complaining about that. Oh, that music's so loud, or oh, that guy's on the street, or it's attracting a certain demographic of society to kind of, because not every busker was well to do.
Yeah.
There were also people just like panhandling that happened to play a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So as it all comes down to money and optics. Like, you don't want this like vagabond looking train hopping dude with stick and poke tattoos out in front of your shop. I mean, I do. I think
that guy sounds awesome.
I know. But like, if you get a couple complaints about that, then you're going to maybe have an opinion about it. Not every business was like that. It's the same thing going on with the decibel ordinances around Asheville yards downtown. It's mostly people from out of town wanting a version of Asheville that it doesn't jive with maybe actually the scene here. So then the city has to decide, do we want to cater to the people with money? Do we want to cater to the arts community? And usually
it's the people with money.
Yes. And you can find that middle ground. But so busking laws started to kind of come into place.
But there is still some buskers downtown.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure like where.
There's that girl with the ukulele I see every time I go downtown.
I hope it's back. I haven't been in a while. I'm not even sure like what hard rules got passed, but it was like a very heated thing on like Facebook groups. There was like all these busking Facebook groups that were updating people, and I never really paid too much attention because I was like, you know, I'm nobody. I'm just gonna go out here until they tell me to stop it. But I'd always ask. I'd go into the Mass General store, right there, you know, one of the big spots there, and I'd say, hey, I'm gonna. Do you mind if I set up and play some folk music for like an hour and a half? I'd always ask. You know? And I was never like, you know, sloppy or loud. I was like, if somebody came out and told me to like, hey, you're too close to my store, I'd be like, oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
You know?
That is probably a fun little like culture when it was thriving though.
Dude,
the people you meet
amazing.
and like,
it was so cool. I would walk around I had a backpack with a stool in it, a foldable stool, my guitar, dobro. When I first started playing dobro, guitar slung across my back, dobro, book bag with a stool in it, my harmonicas, tambourine, and I was like this little one man, like troubadour dude, just singing like every Dylan song I could remember, plus getting into like bluegrass and folk stuff like from the mountains and like Shady Grove, you know. Like,
that's why Jason likes you so much. You play Dylan so much.
I mean, that's my dude, man. You know, that's how I got into like pretty much music in general was
so Bob Dylan was like your gateway for you.
Yeah, when I got the acoustic guitar gifted to me from a neighbor at my childhood home who was going to throw it out, she said, do you want this thing? I'm going to sell it if you don't want it. And I was like, all right, I'll try a guitar. And then
how old were you?
Man, I was late. This was like 20 or 21.
Okay.
Pretty, you know, considering most musicians start much earlier. But I had just so this all ties into Jesse and I getting into folk music together in college. Through that, we discovered, or through Dylan and all that, we discovered bluegrass and Woody Guthrie. But Dylan was sort of like the entry point. And then when I got that acoustic guitar, the first song I learned was Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Okay.
The intro to Stairway to Heaven. And then Tears in Heaven, the Eric Clapton song. Were the first three songs. I didn't even like plan for it.
That's about his kid, right?
Yeah.
Is that song about his kid? Yeah.
So I learned these like brutally depressing songs.
That whole story is like, I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, that can't be real.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, so Dylan was definitely the guy for me. I was like, oh, acoustic guitar, harmonica, like I'm gonna be Bob Dylan one day. It didn't work out like that.
So I'm always under the impression that like a dobro player is like some dude that's really good at guitar and he's just like,
yeah,
I'm gonna just flex on everyone and learn this dobro now too.
Dude,
what was your experience of like going from guitar to dobro?
I find this fascinating that you just said that about a dobro player starting on guitar. Everyone I've met, I've only met one single person that has asked me, like very sincerely like, oh, did you must have started playing dobro, right, as your first instrument. 99% of people are like, you definitely were a guitar player, right, first. Nobody just picks up dobro.
Yeah.
It's funny that you also, that's just like
Did you pick dobro first?
No,
Oh,
you're right.
okay,
It was
okay.
guitar, but I just find it humorous that like nobody assumes that dobro. It's like so weird. It can't be your first instrument.
Well, dobro's like very in my like I don't know much about it, so to me
Yeah.
it's just like guitar on steroids.
Yeah.
That's so it's like almost like
Yeah.
let me just show you what I can do. Like I mastered the guitar, now watch this.
Well,
that's what my head always goes
No,
to.
I absolutely. Actually, what happened was I discovered a weakness on the guitar, and what it and a strength in finger picking and a weakness in flat picking. When the Fireside Collective was pre-Fireside, we were the Fireside string band, and it was just me, Jesse, Carson, and then like I forget, maybe a rotating. I think Jesse's old drummer from his college jam band was on banjo, Mark, and I was the guitar player. I sucked at flat picking, but I could finger pick the shit out of some old Piedmont blues and stuff like that. So
Just explain the difference of flat picking, finger picking.
yeah,
real quick.
so flat picking is when you use like a pick or a plectrum, like Billy Strings does, or Tony Rice, or even like almost all the great electric guitar players usually are using a pick of some kind. Besides like Mark Knopfler and Derek Trucks, they use their fingers.
Yeah.
But so a famous finger style guitar player would be like James Taylor, or Tommy Emmanuel is a great fingerstyle player. You know, it's when you're using your fingers as opposed to a pick in your right hand if you're right-handed. But
Now, do people that do finger picking, are they typically also, because I know there's some people that will like, as they're like holding the fret, they like they like play that too.
Yeah,
right?
that's called a pull off.
That's a pull off.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's also can be in finger style guitar. That's just like in anything really. But I discovered that I was good at finger picking, not flat picking.
Okay.
And then so I was like, oh well, then I'll learn banjo. So I tried to learn banjo for like 2 years, and I had a open back like claw hammer style banjo. And I was starting to use like finger picks and stuff, because all my favorite music at that time was like, I mean, Dylan used a pick a lot, but he also finger picked quite a bit. But all pre-Dylan, like my favorite musicians were all like blues dudes from Mississippi, and even North Carolina has like a rich blues history from the 40s and 50s. Like Reverend Gary Davis was a kind of like a huge guy in the folk revival in the 60s. But I was just I wanted to be like an old black dude that finger picked guitar and played slide guitar like Robert Johnson. That's all I gave a shit about. I didn't care about Grateful Dead. I didn't care about dobro, bluegrass. I wanted to do that, and all those cats finger picked. So I learned to finger pick, and then I went over to the banjo when I was like, oh, bluegrass is cool. This is the finger picking instrument in bluegrass, is the banjo.
Yeah.
And I was like, but banjo's just not bluesy enough. It's plinky, 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 you know? And I of course I love the banjo, but then the dobro, it literally is a combination of a guitar and a banjo. It's like if you put the two instruments together, it involves the finger picking technique, but it has the size and volume of a guitar.
Okay.
It has a tuning of a banjo. It's tuned just like a banjo almost. So it was like my two instruments that I wasn't really good at combined into this one instrument that was actually what my soul was attracted to the most.
So the slide is like when you're sliding, it's like you're fretting, basically.
Yeah, with the bar,
and then you're picking up here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So the dobro is tuned in an open G tuning like the banjo, but it's the body shape is like a guitar. But it's just like it's the bluesiest of the bluegrass instruments. So to me, it made sense that coming from a blues background, that like I would be attracted to the dobro. And Jesse I think suggested, he was like, you should, like, if you find a dobro one day, I think that's your instrument, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I actually found, it's a crazy story how I discovered a dobro too. I was in traffic on 40 leaving Winston-Salem, and I got off at this exit right outside of Greensboro because the traffic was terrible. And I was like, my truck's going to overheat if I sit in this fucking traffic. So I pulled off on this exit. This is back in the day when I first picked it up. And there was a Guitar Center on that exit. I had a wad of cash in my pocket from working at the Outer Banks that summer, and I was just using it to kind of get around at the time. I was like nomadic, just traveling around North Carolina. There was a Guitar Center, and I was like, oh, it's rush hour right now. 40's fucking backed up. It's going to be like this for an hour. I'll go kill some time at Guitar Center. In the acoustic showroom at Guitar Center was a 1974 Dobro brand Dobro. Ironically, I shit you not, I had just purchased a bar and finger picks from a music store in Winston-Salem, I think. And I was like, oh, well, I have the tools to play this dobro. I'll kill an hour. And I picked it up and I just started playing this thing in the showroom. No idea what I was doing with it. And I was like, it was like, buy me. You must buy me. So I took out $500 in cash and bought that 1974 dobro because of a traffic jam on 40 that I just didn't want to sit in. And my impatience led me to the dobro. And then I fell in love with it after that. I played that thing forever and ever and ever until I upgraded to, kind of the next step or whatever. But that's how it happened.
What was the process of learning? So like you had played guitar for a little bit, played banjo a little bit already. You tried these other instruments. What was the process of like learning? Was it easy for you? Was it harder for you? Or was it such a new?
Yeah.
Or kind of, I guess it was a little bit of like a mixture of the two that you did learn.
The finger picking technique I got from guitar and banjo translated so like right over to dobro. It was kind of the bar stuff from the left hand, the big metal bar that was weird. But because I was playing a lot of bluesy slide guitar at the time, Delta blues stuff, I kind of had an idea about like some of the techniques that are nuanced for playing slide. Lots of like dampening and muting, stuff that like makes the sound cleaner basically. And coincidentally at the time was the really kind of like one of the first eras of online learning. So when I got the dobro like 2012 or 13 was kind of like this like I want to say burst of YouTube instructional videos. Now it's everywhere. You can find how to play any instrument on YouTube.
Any song.
But at that time there was a particular resource called Artist Works that had just started or hadn't been up for long, and it was an online learning kind of database for string instruments.
Yeah.
It really couldn't have lined up better timing wise because although I had a bunch of books with CDs that I bought from Guitar Center and stuff like Beginner Dobro and all this stuff, and I was listening to Flat and Scruggs and crap like that, and Mike Aldridge with Seldom Seen, I was learning it from that. But Andy Hall had a course he's a dobro player for Infamous String Dusters on Artist Works. And dude, that was like extremely important because I could just pull up a lesson from a professional dobro player and see him in my screen on my parents' desktop computer telling me like, they were pre-recorded, like how to, all the things that you don't want to skip over in the beginning, like technique stuff. So you don't want to get bad habits with any instrument at the beginning. They're really hard to undo,
Yeah.
So like right away I had like Andy Hall teaching me through Artist Works. And I told him that when we opened for the Dusters,
stoked.
I was like, dude, I would not be here if it wasn't for Artist Works, man. Like that resource was really important to me and probably a lot of other players because there was really no dobro instruction available at that time. And still there isn't really. I mean, there's a little couple videos, but
there's not a ton of dobro players, right?
There's not a ton of dobro players in
especially outside of like the bluegrass scene, like
yeah, there really isn't. And there's dobro all over familiar music that we've all heard on the radio, classic country songs. But it's like when I say dobro to just like kind of like a casual music listener, not a person that's kind of more familiar with the scene, they know what a dobro is, but like a casual music listener, they'll be like, oh, like Curtis Slow, like the Leonard Skinner song. Yeah, he played a dobro, didn't he? And he played that song is referring to probably a metal body guitar, which is also called a dobro sometimes. It's kind of a weird name. It's an ambiguous name. It's a confusing name, but yeah, there's not a ton of dobro players, and still, the amount compared to like the next most rare instrument is like, whatever that would be. I don't know.
Now, dumb question
Yeah.
for you. What's the like fundamental difference between like a dobro and then like a lap steel?
I get this one all the time too. So a dobro is a brand. Dobro
Okay.
is a brand, but you know how we call like any kind of facial tissue a Kleenex? Give me a Kleenex. I gotta blow
Yeah.
my nose. Kleenex is a brand, but no one's gonna call it "Give me a damn facial tissue."
Yeah.
Dobro brand, Dobros made the first resonator instruments. Well,
Okay.
the first like mass produced. And Dobro is a brand which was the byproduct, the brainchild of two inventors from I think the Czechoslovakia or something like that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they came over to America. The Dopiera brothers, or there's a couple different pronunciations, but they were inventors, and they they wanted to make the acoustic guitar louder because the acoustic guitar was like becoming really popular in the 30s through Spanish and Mexican migrant workers bringing over the acoustic guitar to America, which was traditionally like a European folk instrument. So, but the guitar was so quiet, and if you were playing it with like a horn band or drums or whatever in a jazz band or something, so they were like, "Oh, we'll put this speaker cone in there and it'll make it louder." So they called their brand Dobro, which was the first three letters of their surname, Dopiera, or the first two letters, and then Bro, which is brothers. So the brand was Dobro, which also, little marketing nod from the brothers, in their native language of Slovakia, Dobro meant like cheers, like when cheers, dobro.
That's cool.
So
Nice.
so the slogan was for the first Dobro guitars was Dobro means good in any language, and they would sell it in like Sears catalog and stuff.
Nice.
Well, electric guitar amplification got invented soon after and made the dobro kind of obsolete, because then you didn't need the resonator anymore. You just plug in. So, but it kind of maintained this niche sound in folk music. And then it has a whole thing where it went over to Hawaii. But anyway, long answer to your question because it's important. The dobro is a brand. When you say it in Asheville, North Carolina, or you say it in Nashville, Tennessee, or you say it anywhere in the Southeast, it's almost always referring to a lap style playing of an acoustic resonator guitar. Even though it's a brand name, it could mean any kind of lap style acoustic guitar with a resonator cone in it.
Now, is a pedal steel just electric?
A pedal steel has pedals and knee levers and is tuned entirely different. A lap steel is a electrified dobro essentially, but it doesn't have a resonator. It just has usually single coiled, sometimes humbucker pickups. And one of the first lap steels ever invented was Fender. I actually have one of the first years of Fender when he first started making pickups, and pre Stratocasters, which he's famous for. There in pre Telecaster, Fender Guitar Company was manufacturing lap steels, which essentially is just a piece of plywood with high action in a single coil pickup. And that's what you hear on the old Hank Williams albums, like the first Hank Senior pre pedals. So that twangy kind of haunting sound in the background of old country music is kind of like the next evolution of the dobro.
So would that be like, I think of
And
that,
the pedal steel is the next evolution of the lap steel.
so like that spooky sound that you said, and like the Mama Tried, like the Merle Haggard, that sound in the back.
Old Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could either be lap steel or, depending on the song, or pedal steel.
Okay.
Pedal steel has a
Because when you said spooky country sound, that was like the first sound I thought of. That song.
Yeah, that might have been, depending on the era, pedal steel. But so it kind of goes, dobro was first, lap steel, no pedals, and then pedal steel, and is sort of like the lineage.
Okay.
So dobro usually refers to like playing, like you playing it on your lap in an open tuning with a bar. But again, you can play a dobro upright like a guitar too. Like if you have a dobro brand resonator guitar. You know, there's like a bunch of weird.
And that's Dobro 101 with
That's
Tommy.
dude. Yeah.
When did it change from just resonator guitar, right? Like being like the way it's
Yeah.
Oakham type stuff from the 20s.
Yeah.
To a lap with a bar and more of a slide sound.
So this is where Hawaii comes in. So the dobro got adopted by Hawaiian musicians in like the mid late 30s. And I'm a little unfamiliar with how the first dobros got to Hawaii, why they were so drawn to that instrument.
Yeah.
I'm missing that part. I know that like air travel became like a thing that rich people could do at that point, where you'd be like, oh, go to Hawaii for the week, and it somehow mass migrated to Hawaii, the dobro, the resonator guitar that the brothers made. And they made what they kind of invented what's called like slack tuning. And basically slack tuning is where you could tune it to an open chord, right?
Okay.
So like open G typically. And then the Hawaiians were the ones that took a knife or a glass bottle and slid it up and down and did the kind of that luau flavor that you hear. And then it came back to America. That sound came back to America, and people were like, oh, they're playing it on their lap, and it's in an open tuning, and they're using this slide now. And then that became sort of synonymous with blues players in the South. And then later on through Josh Graves, pre-Josh Graves, Bashful Brother Oswald, like it became a sort of a part of like white roots music.
Yeah.
But the dobro, the steel guitar, which you would play like a regular guitar, but with like a slide, which could also sometimes be called a dobro, that was predominantly like an African-American roots instrument. So the slide thing, that the rub of the dobro, what makes the dobro a dobro, generally when you think of it, is the resonator, and then second to most people is that slidey sound. It has a lot to do with Hawaiian musicians making that sort of like a part of the sound. It's a really cool story, and it's not that old. I mean, we're talking about like 30s, 40s here for when all this is going down. When you think about a mandolin, fiddle, guitar, I mean, these are like hundreds of years of old instruments, So dobro is like pretty new, and it's specifically an American invention. It wasn't created in Europe. Like all these other instruments I just named, all the other classic instruments in a string band. Banjo has African roots. Guitar is European, Spanish or something. Mandolin, you think of like an old like lute, like the bowl back things from like Italy. Upright bass is probably somewhere in Europe. Fiddle, obviously. But dobro?
All right. Where were we?
Dobros. Yeah, man. My favorite thing in the world. It changed my life, man.
That is interesting. Like you haven't been playing it for like that long.
Not really. I mean,
and you know a lot about it.
Yeah. Well, it's a tight-knit crew, man. Everywhere I go across the country, like dobro players I know from Instagram or Facebook, like they'll come out and chit-chat. And it's a lot of older people, because the dobro's like easy on your hands.
Yeah.
But there's so many good like new cats coming up, like Gavin Largent. He plays with Dan Tominski now. Carter Geerich, I forget. He's a local guy. Jackson, who we saw last night, who plays pedal steel. There's actually quite a few cats now that are playing dobro. I might be one of the only people besides like Jerry Douglas, Andy Hall, that like exclusively plays dobro.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a multi-instrumentalist. Like I just play dobro. But a lot of people can kind of play dobro, but also banjo or also guitar, and they're like good at them all.
So this time you were busking, you're just doing guitar. There's not even dobro in that?
There was dobro when I first started learning dobro. I would start to bring it out and do like one or two songs. Actually, one of the songs I did in the line at Christmas Jam was like Red Haired Boy, like an old fiddle tune. So, but
the novelty of that, people probably like the busking.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, what is this cool thing? And now I mean, I had no idea it was going to be like my thing necessarily, but it just kind of like took off or whatever, and I fell in love with it and literally stopped playing guitar and banjo like overnight. I was like, I don't care about progressing on these instruments. There's always going to be a really good banjo player, guitar player in every picking circle I'm ever going to encounter in Asheville. I like
Yeah.
was convinced that I was never going to get my flat picking up, especially when like you're going to a jam back in like the Jack of the Wood heyday and John Stickley's there. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm not going to practice guitar.
What was that
But
like?
dobro was unique. I had like, there was no competition. You know?
Yeah. What was that like when like, because now like John Stickley, everyone knows who he is. He's established. He's got a
Yeah.
family. So he's like more a family man now.
Yeah.
But when he was like fresh on the scene, he was
Dude.
just popping out places. Like, what was that?
Peak jams, like
Yeah.
at it, like 2015, 16 at the ISIS Music Hall, and then Jack of the Wood downtown. You like Lindsay was out, Lindsay Pruitt, John Stickley be out, Nikki Sanders from the Steep Canyon Rangers. Dude, touring bands that were just playing at the Orange Peel or Gray Eagle, if they were in town on the Thursday, you'd see them come up and play Jack of the Wood. I mean, it's like, it's a legendary jam, like, and it still is going on. I think it's like been around for 30 years. But you would go out on a Thursday night, Jesse and I, young bluegrass wannabes, and like Drew Matalich is up there playing like David Grisman tunes with Lindsay Pruitt, and like just there was this incredible, like we're talking about like the bass line of
Yeah.
like how Asheville's like bass is just so much higher than most cities. Like back in those days, it was insane the level of talent that would just be out on a nightly basis. So I would say it was extremely inspiring and intimidating, but also inspiring, because then Jesse and I would go home and be like, oh, what was that fiddle tune that they called? Like, we got to learn that one. Or like, you know, then we'd get our balls big enough to go out and play a tune or two. And then eventually we got accepted in the scene and realized that like there's really nothing to be afraid of. Nobody was like,
Yeah.
you know, like there was this fear, like I can't speak with Jesse, but I was like, I can't go up there and play this fucking instrument next to John Stickley and Drew Matalich. But those dudes were so supportive, man. They were just like nothing but like thumbs up and like, can't wait to hear you again. And then obviously everybody's developed their own bands as time went on, and Drew joined Billy and John Stickley Trio, and Nikki, you know, was in the Steep Canyon Rangers. And those are just like three I think of off the bat, but there was a bunch of other like really local talented people that like this guy Lawrence, who just like drove a tractor, would come out, and he had this really deep voice, and dude, he could sing like Tony and pick like Tony, and then he'd just go back to his tractor job the next day. And I was just like blown away. I was like, this is the coolest place ever. Like this is the place to learn bluegrass if you didn't grow up learning it.
Who do you think, I guess it's a question for the both of you guys, but like now there's like a new wave of musicians coming through Asheville,
Absolutely.
and like who gets you guys really excited around here that's like a little bit on the younger, like newer names in the scene?
Mad props, by the way, to the new crop of people, because like it's still popping.
Yeah.
And it could have died. There was a year where I was like, damn, the jams are dead. ISIS closed up. But who would you say, Jason? I got a couple names. I probably share them with you.
I mean, I think locally, right this minute, right, was the Alex and Jackson, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Ethan.
Yep.
Like this is
Ethan.
like everywhere I go, like Ethan's
Yeah.
doing something.
Yeah.
Somewhere, and you know, they're all younger than me, so like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of interesting things
Yeah.
happening in this town, and to see, I mean, I even remember when I got here, right, like bluegrass brunch, like, it was like Woody and
Yeah.
Jason Crackle. And it's
Yeah.
like now those guys, like, they're still playing around and stuff, but there's this whole
Yeah.
wave that's come behind them for whatever reason, something about Asheville.
Yeah.
And it's just it's cool, right, to be, you know, I'm older. I could be Alex's dad, you know, and to go see these kids just grinding night after night, you know, and getting better every time.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It's magic.
I agree with Jason. Alex has definitely kind of like taken that like the leadership. I mean, there's other people around too, but like he's just out there crushing it. And I
He's doing
I
something
respect
every
that.
night, I feel like.
I would be remiss to mention some OG influences on sort of the scene that are still doing it, but are the Brushfire Stankgrass guys, the Sailor Brothers.
Absolutely.
When I first moved into town, dude, like their music, like the bluegrass thing with drums, which was like, I didn't know who Leftover was. So like to me, that was novel. And I was like, went to a Brushfire show and actually worked on like a single that they recorded in a studio one time when I was working in the studio in Weaverville. And I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever heard, dude.
Yeah.
It's like funky, but also like they can pick, and like Will and Ben are just like Sailor are just the coolest dudes, and I've played with them a bunch over the years and super grateful that they're still around. But yeah, from that first generation, there's not a ton of people like what first generation for me. Obviously before me, there was a whole nother, decade, I'm sure, of amazing pickers, but like, yeah, definitely Alex comes to mind. And then, there's this new banjo player in town, this like kid that played with us at Earl Scruggs that fucking is just like shredded so hard, dude.
They have a band.
What was that name?
I don't
that
know,
dude.
but
A banjo player?
You know who they were? They were what do you call them? The set was Jerry and Sam.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Jerry and Sam, right? Who did not show up?
From, but they were. It was good.
He's super young and he shreds, dude. I forget his name.
I like the Clouds of Illusion guys. I think they're good too.
Who is that again? What's that band?
Garrett and Luke.
Oh, Luke. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jackson and Ethan.
Yeah.
And then they have a different drummer sometimes, I feel like.
Rotates.
Yeah.
Let's do the keys.
Yeah, that dude Ian from the Snosberries has been on keys a couple times, and I've seen them too.
It's crazy that it's still like there's still so much going on in the string band scene, and like, R.I.P. to Funk Jam. I know it still goes on, but like, that was huge when we were in town. Tuesday nights were just insane. But to see that there's still like for the bluegrass part of Asheville, it's like almost in like a renaissance right now.
Yeah.
Really. And that has a lot to do with these local cats, and they're including me on gigs. Like, and I
You did one with Alex like last night, right? Yeah.
Like I'm just, or no, last week.
Okay.
But like it's cool for me to kind of now get to know the people that are relevant now, because some of the other guys they don't go out as much. They have families now. So like Jesse's been getting out too. It's been fun just like picking with the new crop. And they're asking us questions about like how do you do this and how'd you get here? I'm just like thinking that at one point, I was probably asking those questions. And not that we have the knowledge or the answers to any of their the age old artist questions, but it's cool to be in that position of like not wisdom in any way, but like support, I would say. Like, yo, you're badass, just keep trucking. Like, I don't actually know how to answer your question about
but it feels
how to get
good
to
for
this
people
level,
to hear that.
but keep playing, keep playing, I guess is what I would say. And there's a lot of talent right now in town, so
I'm gonna put you guys on the spot here. Asheville supergroup, 3 people in the band. Who would you pick? You guys both get one. One pick.
It
Doesn't matter. Just a supergroup.
Oh shit.
You guys got to rock, paper, scissors for
You can go for
Asheville area. So like,
Okay.
like within like 50-mile
Wait,
radius.
so the
No,
band is only 3
only
people.
3 people.
So a power trio.
A power trio.
Damn. And it can
And
be
you can't do the
any
John
genre.
Stickley trio.
And it can be any genre.
Lindsey John and Ray.
Okay. All right, yeah, you go first. I'm trying to think because like
I think I know who Jason's gonna pick first.
I don't. I think that the greatest musician in this town would have to be first, and I believe that to be Jeff Sipe. I'm thinking Sipe on drums.
Beautiful decision. I wasn't even thinking about Jeff. Damn. Okay, so we need.
I think I know Jason, so I was like, I'm gonna sit this one down and just let them do it.
So we need bass and then a.
You can do whatever you want. It's your
melodic
group.
instrument, right? I mean, like, what? I would now. I'm just like, who do I want to hear Jeff Sipe play with?
No. You guys.
Yeah.
He has the one. You have one. So you can't.
Different bands.
They're different bands.
Oh, different bands.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't pick Jeff Sipe now because he has them.
Shit. Who's my drummer then? I'll say that there's this dude I've gotten to know.
It doesn't have to be a drummer. It can be whatever you want.
Pretty well recently, and I have a reason why I'm going to pick him. Not only is he an incredible facilitator of pickup gigs and an incredible musician that is good at being like the de facto leader, because it's hard to when you're in a super group or a pickup band to have somebody to direct traffic. But this dude, that's his bread and butter, and he can sing and he can play, and his name is Jay Lloyd.
Okay.
And he's a horn player.
Yeah.
And why I think Jay Lloyd would be on my team is because I would feel so comfortable about the other two musicians and him being able to
make it all work,
give them the tools that they need to make the shit pop. And I respect the crap out of him, even though I'm not a horn player or really know much about that his world. I see him, how he operates, and I'm like, that dude is professional. That dude's calm, chill, and also super talented.
He does it every week.
So I would pick Jay Lloyd on my team.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Because the shows we go to, it's like 3 or 4 guys we all know. Ginseng Sullivan, right? But he's pulling in sometimes 8, 10 people.
Yeah.
To have that that music, ready.
And not 3-chord songs.
No, they're not just doing.
Yeah. But damn, Jeff Sipe, that was a good one.
I know his second pick's going to be.
Do you?
I think so.
I don't even know who it is. I mean, I'm thinking, if you got Jeff Sipe on drums, okay, I got my whole 3-piece. I'm ready.
Oh,
who's number 2?
My bass player, another Brevard guy. I'm going Travis Book.
Damn it!
I wasn't
all the
going to
All-Stars.
go him until you said the thing about figuring out how to blend all this stuff together. Because any 3 guys need someone that can.
So you have Jeff Sipe and Travis
lead
Book.
them into battle, I guess, and it seems like he can do that in 90 minutes or less.
Yeah.
So I'm taking him.
Damn. All right. So we're okay. So you got Travis. You're building a little power trio. So
I'm
now,
building a power trio,
you're building a power trio.
Only because I can't choose you.
I want to be in that band, Travis and Jeff. Come on.
I did this the other day with the guys from Cosmic Country, and we did a foursome with one person dead. You could do one guy that's been dead. So I did Billy Strings, Les Claypool.
Oh yeah.
Joe Russo, and Ray Charles. So I was like,
damn,
as fastest beats per minute ever.
Ray Charles. So, man, so I mean, we're building the band, right? I need a drummer here. I don't know many drummers in town besides like our drummer and then Claude Coleman, right? The Ween drummer.
Coleman, Ween.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know anything about
Laurel Lee and the Escapees. He used to play with this, just like you're talking about the Bakersfield country stuff, and he would just be back there, with like a little 3-piece and brushes, and playing these old country songs on like the back patio of the Gray Eagle or something.
Dude,
it's like, this is a guy from Lean. Like, this is talking about crazy Asheville stuff.
All right, I know who my second player would be. I'm really just like trying to recreate this one band that I played with recently at the music hall. That was like I like sat in on a funk. It was when Papadozio played downtown.
Okay.
And they had an after party at the music hall.
Yeah.
And it was like a funk band. And I was invited to play like the whole show.
Okay.
And it was insane, dude. Like I never play in that genre. I was like, this is the coolest fucking music ever. But the guitar player that night I think his name was Derek. It's like this tall cat. And he plays with Jonathan Lloyd. I'm literally just recreating this.
He's got like the best musician. You're like, the one time I played this show was awesome.
I mean, the thing is, like, obviously, like, I would, my default would be like string band players in town, which I'm more familiar with. You know what? I'm gonna put John Stickley up in there.
Okay.
I love Derek, but John, I know by name. I don't even know if Derek's this guy's name. But he's tall. But he was so good,
tall.
Dude. He played rhythm all night, and then they looked back at him for a solo, and I was like, "What's the rhythm good guitar player doing a solo?" And he just destroyed it. Like he was just humbly playing rhythm all night, but had that firepower at his trigger finger. But I'd probably say John Stickley because I love John Stickley, and I want to hear John Stickley and Jay Lloyd play together. That'd be fun as hell. So that's my and then what about your third one here?
Is it a keys player?
No, my guitar player is Aaron Wood, Woody Wood. I think
nice, dude.
I think if Stickley,
no Gus,
keys wouldn't sound right there. Plus, I need Bob Weir songs.
Okay, there you go.
He's liable to not play them out of habit or something. No, I think Woody Wood. I think if John Stickley's not the best guitar player in town, Woody Wood is, and I think that it's criminal that people don't see him, know him, support him.
Yeah.
You talk about the history of
Dude,
music
yeah.
in this area. I mean, this guy's grew up playing guitar as a 3-year-old with
Woody Wood is his name?
yeah,
Woody
Aaron
Wood,
Wood,
man.
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, his dad was
OG.
like famous. I don't know. His dad was a bluegrass musician. He's got records and shit on Spotify.
Huh.
And just growing up around that and at these, string band things from a young age, he's
down.
And he can do the weird blues.
Yes.
Just fucking in your face rock and roll. I
Yes.
mean, he can do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's criminal that he's not playing stadiums, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he's that fucking
Woody Wood, okay.
Woody Wood, dude. Yeah, Woody. So that same album I worked on, that Brushfire song, Brushfire Stand Grass, Woody Wood, there was also a single of his on there. And it was with my buddy Matt Williams. But anyway, I remember hearing Woody Wood's song, and we like put it through this filter in Pro Tools that was like this old telephone. So it was like Woody Wood's growly blues voice and like playing with an acoustic guitar. It just sounded like this old 78 from like 1940. But anyway, Woody's the shit. You should check out Woody Wood.
So you have Jeff Sipe, Travis Book, Woody
That's
Wood.
an insane band, bro.
And I might even say Travis and Woody have to play electric just to make it fucking weird.
Yeah. I
like it.
I think that's what
I
you
didn't
gotta
have
do.
to look up Woody Wood now.
All right, so I need somebody that can play drums and also like keyboards the same time, which doesn't exist. I need we need a drummer. I mean, I don't know this dude. Oh man, who would be? I don't know. I don't know who my third would be. I'll just throw somebody random out there. We'll say oh man.
You got what so far? Saxophone
And guitar. We'll put Claude Coleman in there. Shit. We'll put the Ween drummer in there. Well, so now we got just all over the map. We'll see what happens there. But I will say my favorite Asheville musician who wouldn't be in this lineup necessarily.
Tell me more.
No, I'm not that. Whatever.
I'm going Alex Bazemore, Hannah Ramsey, and then Bear with his bongos.
That's a great thing.
The bongos.
Yeah. No, that's a solid band.
Hell yeah, guys. Well, we did well over an hour.
Nice.
Didn't feel like it, did it?
Yeah, no.
Before we do wrap up, though, we're here to talk about your art, your music art. What about your colored pencil guy, huh?
Colored pencil guy?
Yeah.
I love colored pencil.
I saw a couple of drawings on you. I don't know if it's your Instagram or your Facebook, but you're pretty damn good at it. Is that something you do a lot?
Pre-music, all I did for self-expression was visual art.
Okay.
I drew comics, man. Like I was huge into Marvel and DC comics back then.
Your own comics?
Yeah. No, like Spider-Man and stuff.
I thought you were like writing your own comics. That would be
No,
sick.
but I wanted to. My goal in life was to be a comic illustrator or a graphic designer when I was like 10.
Second person on the podcast that's a musician that had that goal.
Yeah.
The bass player from Dogs in a Pile.
No way.
Sam. He made a comic and it got like pretty far on like a Nickelodeon contest.
Wow.
For comics, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I just I drew, man. I would like I did drawing in like Windows Paint back in the day, like the first Paint program.
Yeah.
But first it was like pen, pencil, and then pen and ink, and then I never got good at painting, like blending colors.
Yeah.
But I still draw occasionally, but like when music came around in my life, I don't know. I just like I feel almost like I betrayed that part of me because like I stopped so suddenly drawing. Like I changed my whole life for music. I was really set on that was gonna be something that I would do forever, was to draw.
Is it something you'd go back and try to do every now and then, or is it just kind of like thing of the past now?
It is mostly a thing of the past, but I had an opportunity when we were out in California recently. I stayed later, the band left, and I was just doing some soul searching and around Davis, California, UC Davis, and I was just out by myself, Ubered into town, and I rolled up to this brewery, and and no idea where I'm at. And they're like, I see everyone drawing. I'm like, what's going on? Is this an art night? It was like, yeah, in the prompt for tonight is medieval aliens.
Hmm.
So I was like, I wanted to see where that fit with me now
Yeah.
drawing. So I got a pint and I got a piece of paper and a pen and sat down for the first time in years and drew uh a
Did you enjoy it?
medieval alien. Oh, dude, it was awesome.
Can
It brought
can you send a picture of it to me?
I have it on my phone. Yeah, I'll
Yes,
send a
I'm
picture
gonna
to you.
post it
Yeah,
on
yeah. Okay.
Instagram. Yeah.
What it did was remind me how slow like that medium is for expression.
Mhm.
Like music, you can just go in a in a short notice be like, oh, I'm inspired. I want to, or I'm bored, and pick up your guitar and strum some chords or play the dobro. And it's like immediate. But
Yeah.
when you have a piece of paper and a pen, you can't just whip something up. I mean, you could draw a smiley face and be done in 5 seconds, but like if you want to create something like meaningful, it's a slow process usually.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably drew that thing for like an hour. And I mean, obviously songs take a long time to come together sometimes, but like it was such a slower, different part of the brain, very meditative, which music is too. But the thing about music that's different now for me, that visual art has not intruded into this part of my life yet, and it probably never will, but is the business
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like freeing to just draw now, whereas music now is tied into every aspect of
Yeah, we were talking about
you
it before
know,
we started this, like
me
running
as
a
a
business, yeah.
yeah, like a career.
Mhm.
So, just there's all these attachments to it still or
Nice.
now.
That's
N
awesome.
not bad necessarily, but
Just, like, real.
real business
Yeah,
shit, there's stuff to consider that,
and there's nothing too
you
real
know
about drawing a medieval alien. It's
nothing at
just, like,
all.
let
It
your
was
inner
just
child just do it.
yeah, yeah. That
That's
Jeff site?
Jason. While Jason's here, though,
Yeah.
Jason, number 1 fan, any questions for
Number
Tommy
1 fan.
before we
I
get out of here?
I
Love you,
have
buddy.
a question, mostly jumping off a question that Jesse gave, where Jesse was talking when he was on All Jammed Up about he kind of always envisioned this to end up where we are now, right, with drums
Yeah,
and a little more of a
yeah,
driving sound.
yeah.
And I guess what I would like to ask is, when you're taking the songs that y'all had before that, right?
Mhm.
How hard was it to manipulate those into this new sound, right? Because these new songs have this new
Yeah,
sound,
yeah.
but to hear those old songs that we're used to in one way
Totally.
being radically transformed, was that
Yeah.
a struggle? Was that
I think that it was a shock at first because the banjo was such a part of those sounds that like removing that just alone is big. And then you're adding this like really loud instrument to kind of make up for the sound. Um I think it was depending on the song, varying degrees of difficulty. Mike is not from obviously an acoustic
at
background.
all? Yeah.
So for him to kind of learn how to be like a bluegrass drummer, I would say admittedly was a challenge, not because of his technical inefficiency or insufficiency. He's fucking amazing. It was also us learning about what what is this role of this now in this band. So which is why the new songs feel more natural because we already know that that's a part of the sound.
That's how it is, yeah.
I would say like Blue Is My Condition, Back to Caroline, like some of the groovier upbeat stuff was pretty easy, but some of the songs have been challenging to figure out. Like almost like the drums, like they don't not take away, but the song morphs its
Right,
energy a little bit. And sometimes you want to maintain that subtle kind of vulnerability that string music can get. And drum, it's then you throw a rock and roll drum groove in
right.
there, it kind of changes it. So there's some songs that just don't that hit harder, and then some that were just like, maybe we don't play that anymore.
Right,
But not that you can't be subtle with drums. And actually, we're trying to figure out how to dial back some of the energy. Especially with that Grateful Dead Reckoning set we
right.
did,
Mm.
where we were playing really slow. Must have been the Roses, and just really big song oriented songs. I think that is that's the direction I see us moving forward into, is being able to kind of dip into that world a little bit, Americana kind of, but also still lean heavy into the jam stuff because we love doing that as well. But I would say the drums add more options than they limit. The world is broader now.
Yeah.
I would say, as a whole.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
fan, I agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I thought I liked y'all before.
Yeah.
I know you're really fucking.
I love it, dude. I love it. I love Mike's playing. I love what he's done to our bluegrass stuff. He knows kind of where to keep it, and then, as far as to maintain the stringness of it, the acoustic nature of the old stuff. But then when we light into a rock and roll song or a funk song, he can bring it up. And we just couldn't do that before. You just can't do that without drums, unless you're fucking Billy Strings. But other than that, it's it's really hard. But yeah, I'm excited about the new album. It's going to be some of the songs on here are just my favorite songs that Joe's written or Jesse's written. And I'm not just saying that because it's new and I'm trying to promote it. Truly, I'm this is kind of what we've been. The eyes have, the pathway has been going this way for years. And we needed to go through the bluegrass phase and the folk phase. We needed to absorb that music and go through that and make those albums and make those songs in order to get an appreciation of that music and the roots of it all, in order to come to this new space.
Yeah.
I think that staying in that world would have been imposter syndrome, because our tastes are so much broader than just bluegrass. All of our roots of everyone in the band's pre-bluegrass, pre-Fireside life is rock and roll, hip hop, R&B, jazz, 80s music for Carson, jam bands. Bluegrass is just a little part of our journey, and I'm so glad we went through that. But I'm super stoked to see what is on the horizon, especially the album after this one. It's probably going to get even more, we're probably going to piss even more people off, but that's okay.
Well, man, this was a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to do this again with you and Jesse. I think you guys probably have some funny stories that we could hear about too from back in the day.
Some road stories.
But before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to plug?
I would just say, actually, for the Asheville crew, we got 2 big shows with our dear homies, the Kitchen Dwellers. Halloween, and then the night after Halloween at the Orange Peel. We're playing before then. We have an hour slot, and then we're probably gonna get up and jam with them, I'm sure, during their set. We love those dudes. I know you had Torrin on here.
Yep.
So I would just say we'll see you guys at the Orange Peel soon, and then we got 2 shows in December at 185 King Street.
I'll be there for that one.
Don't miss that.
I'll be there for that
Don't
one.
miss that.
So, but you're going to Halloween, so you'll miss that. But
I will miss that one.
Those are our kind of 2 opportunities locally to see us, is the Halloween run, and then December 19th and 20th at Brevard and 185
Nice.
King
And
Street.
one of those will be a Reckoning show, right?
Yeah, we're gonna redo the Reckoning set that we did in Charleston and Raleigh
With Hannah again.
with Hannah again.
Nice.
And that might be one of the last times we do that, because we don't want to just regurgitate that theme
And
over
you gotta
and over.
at
Even
least
though
the
I fucking
allure.
love it.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they'll do it one more time next year. Who knows? But it's such a good album, and don't miss that. And then the second night, it'll be just like a Fireside set.
Fuck
And
yeah.
those are some of the best shows last year. I mean, that place just
It was
packed and exploded.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thank
and
you,
Jason,
Clint.
glad you had to come
Happy
on.
to be here.
Thanks, man.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, man.
You just got jammed.
Welcome back, guys, from that interview with Tommy. That's 2 guys of the Fireside Collective on the podcast now. And if you're in Asheville, check them out on Halloween. That's 3 weeks from now. It's going to be a cool show at the Kitchen Dwellers. I'll be out of town, so I won't be at that one. But I definitely will be at the Reckoning one in December. So see you there in Brevard. Also, if you're in Asheville this Friday, I've posted about it, talked about it a little bit in Chloe's Corner. Check out the Psychedelic Circus this Friday at Asheville Music Hall. Snozberries are playing. Swerve is playing, Clout Chaser, and Michael Wilbur from Moon Hooch. That's going to be a good time too. And there's like a costume contest, freaking lasers, man. It's going to be a good time. So we'll see you there on Friday. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you again on Thursday with a new episode. So have a great week, guys. And remember, wherever you are right now, it's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world is turned so slow. Day and night I found cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know there's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. The stars, they sail across the sky, and I could watch you dance all through the night. When the rhythm is right, oh, and I know the sun is rising now. Or if the world would just slow down. So you move with me and I'll move with you, and I could spend the rest of my life by your side. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know it's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. There's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down.